Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
We begin at 6 with the breaking news that we've been following all afternoon out of Kansas City. Shots fired at the Super Bowl celebration. We can confirm at this hour that at least one person is dead.
As many as 15 people may have been injured, 5 seriously. Officials say this managed to still happen despite over 700 law enforcement personnel being at that event.
I'm angry at what happened today. The people who came to this celebration should expect a safe environment. We had over 800 law enforcement officers, Kansas City and other agencies, at the location to keep everyone safe. Because of bad actors, which were very few, this tragedy occurred, even in the presence of uniformed law enforcement officers, who again ran towards them and took them into custody.
Officials say they do not believe the motive of the shooting was terrorism. None of the victims are children. We'll keep you updated as police work this evening to learn more on clickondetroit.com.
I got a lot of family and friends in Kansas City. I've been texting with them all afternoon, and they echo what the sadness that's built into what should have been this joyous occasion. Yeah. All right, we turn now to a developing situation with our weather. Things are about to get really messy starting tomorrow morning.
Want to plan accordingly. We're talking about snow and rain, so let's get over to Kim Adams with the forewarned forecast.
Well, much of the area is going to experience more rain than snow, but the places that get snow could see it total up just at the middle to the tail end of the morning commute. So winter weather advisory in effect from 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow. It's for Livingston, Oakland, and Macomb County, also St. Clair, Sanilac, Lapeer, and Genesee. But even within Livingston, Oakland, and Macomb, it really depends on where you live. If you're up in Ortonville, this will be completely different than, say, you're in Royal Oak or you're somewhere closer to 696, as the northern suburbs are the ones that are expected to get the most amount of snow. It will snow there a little longer because that rain-snow line will move up from the south as we go through the morning hours. So here's the timeline. Between 6 and 8 a.m., snow arrives from the west. It will start out as snow everywhere. And then between 8 and 1 o'clock, we'll see more snow north, more rain to the south. By 1 or 2 o'clock, it's rain for pretty much all of southeast lower Michigan, and then moves out around 3 o'clock. But we'll take a look at the model, and I'll show you exactly where that rain-snow line is and more on what you can expect as far as snow totals, or maybe not at all. Any snow in your neighborhood. We'll talk about it coming up.
All right, Kim. Michigan House of Representatives taking a stand after a House member's controversial rhetoric.
The House overwhelmingly passed a resolution denouncing racist and hate speech by House members. But the member that sparked the vote, Josh Schreiber, well, was not mentioned in the resolution. Will Jones live tonight with reaction. Will.
Karen and Devin, House Speaker Joe Tate has been forceful in his reaction to the actions of Representative Josh Schreiber, calling his rhetoric racist. But Schreiber is not backing down at all. Instead, he's adding fuel to the fire. The Michigan House passing this afternoon a resolution denouncing racist and other hate speech by House members.
As elected representatives, we are responsible for our words and actions.
This coming after Republican State Representative Josh Schreiber retweeted a great replacement post and then doubled down on the racist conspiracy theory that there is an international plot to replace white people with people of color.
It's taken hold in a larger proportion of various right-wing movements around the world, and in particular in the United States among some Republicans.
House Speaker Joe Tate stripping Schreiber of his committee post and his staff. Detroit civil rights leaders reacting to the dangers of the lawmakers' rhetoric.
It reflects the environment in which we're existing. He's not alone in that theory. That's being espoused by people across the country in certain quarters.
Right is on our side, and with right on our side, I believe that these folks will be taken down every time they pop up.
Again, earlier today, Schreiber released a statement doubling down on his position. I asked him for an on-camera interview. He did not respond. I texted him a short time ago asking for his reaction to this vote this afternoon in the House. Still no response with that as well. We are live in Detroit. Will Jones, Local 4.
Story not ending there. All right. Thanks, Will.
A baby was rushed to a hospital with bad burns after a house fire in Inkster. Happened early this morning on Dartmouth Street near Princess Avenue. Our crews were there as investigators took stock of the damage, trying to pinpoint the cause of the fire. Several members of a family, though, were inside when the flames broke out. The grandmother tells us the baby's father was also injured. As crews finished putting out the flames on Dartmouth Street, the call went out for another residential fire just a few blocks to the northwest. On Penn Street, firefighters arrived to find this home fully engulfed in flames. The homeowner tells us he was asleep, heard his brother shouting, and opened the door to try to get out, but the flames were too intense, had to break his bedroom window to escape. Everyone did survive it, but as you can see, the house is a total loss. Cause of that fire is still under investigation, though the battalion chief on scene tells us an electric space heater was in use in the room where the fire started.
Detroit police tonight leading the search for a teenager middle schooler who disappeared last month. In an unusual display of force this afternoon, DPD, Detroit Public Schools, police, and cadets did a grid search. They went door to door, handing out flyers, hoping to find Nia Harris. This investigation is picking up in intensity. Local 4's Rod Maloney joins us now live this evening from the area police searched with for the latest for Nazia's family. Rod?
Yeah, they were all over this neighborhood, Karen, and this is the flyer that they were handing out. Nia Harris, black female, age 13, 5'2", 130 pounds, and there is a real desperate belief that she could be found, and that's what her grandmother, an adoptive grandmother, Annette Harris, told me today.
We can't rule anything out, and I'm hoping and praying that that is not the case. I'm standing on my face that God is going to bring my baby home, but it's been really rough.
Nazia's mother found herself in trouble, and Annette adopted Nazia to provide a better life. Neither Annette nor Detroit police can figure out how Nazia, an 8th grader at Joseph Clark Prep Academy, disappeared in the short steps from her bus stop to Annette's home.
They have, footage of her getting on the school bus, and the bus driver did say that she did get off at her regular stop, okay? And she was supposed to have been coming home, like she normally do, every day.
Detroit Public Schools police started the investigation on January 10th, the day Annette reported her missing, but they hit a roadblock this week and brought Detroit police into the case.
When a child is missing, you got to look everywhere. I had no idea that it was going to be here. I was just told that this is where it was going to be.
For a 13-year-old girl in Nazia?
So they searched here at Shoemaker and Garland on the east side, about 4 miles away from where she disappeared. And Annette Harris has a message for the person or persons who may know what happened to her granddaughter.
Nazia needs to be home with her family, and we love her. So if you are harboring her, there is a law for that. And I'm asking that whoever has any information about my granddaughter to please contact the police. Please, I'm begging you.
Now, the Detroit Public Schools Police Department chief told me today that he doesn't believe that she was abducted, but they cannot be sure. So they've called in Detroit police. They've also asked the FBI and the Michigan State Police to join them. Take one last look here at Nia Harris. If you know where she is, DPD wants to hear from you. Reporting live on the east side, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
So hope we can get some leads on this. All right. Thank you, Rod.
Updating the story of a man found dead in a roadway in Canton a little more than 2 weeks ago. Police determined that man, Elvin Carter, had been shot to death and his body left on Coppernick Road. Well, now someone has been charged in connection with the case, although not with homicide nor murder. A man named Gennaro Garrett is charged with carrying a concealed weapon, possession of a firearm by a felon, and an additional charge of second offense felony firearm charges. We'll keep watching this case to see if any additional charges are brought pertaining to what caused Carter's death.
All right, so some time ago we showed you how DPD was expanding its crisis intervention techniques, and part of that was the exploration of new technology, allowing officers to take a suspect in rather than take them out. It's called BolaWrap. Victor Williams live with more on how it works. So Victor, you showed us these devices back in 2022, and now they are here.
Yeah, that's right, Karen. And de-escalation is really the big word when it comes down to the concept of the BolaWrap.
A great non-lethal option.
Detroit's police department is the latest to start using new tech called the BolaWrap.
Bola, bola, bola.
You fire it, and it literally wraps around you, almost kind of like similar to a spider web, like that of what Spider-Man would have, and it would keep you from being able to advance forward.
Think of it as something you may see in a superhero's utility belt. Local 4 crime and safety expert Darnell Blackburn says it's just another way police can avoid using their taser to subdue a person or even lethal force.
In less than lethal situations, it's a great opportunity to use it. If, again, it's less than lethal, if there's a situation where you have a person who may be mentally incapacitated, a person who is dealing with a mental crisis, it's a great opportunity.
But there may still be a need for firearms in certain situations.
However, you still have to have the taser, you have to have the firearm, just in case things escalate. So it's a great opportunity to minimize and mitigate the risk associated with injuries from civilians as well as police personnel.
Hopefully this does make a difference. Victor Williams, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Victor.
Catching COVID could require less time in isolation, or guidelines now being considered by the nation's top experts on infectious illnesses. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention currently recommends anyone who tests positive for COVID-19 spend 5 days away from work and/or school. Well, now the agency is planning to drop that guidance in favor of a more symptom-based approach, recommending a return to routines for anyone who's been fever-free for 24 hours without the help of COVID medication. So that's actually the same standard applied to the flu and RSV. There is no word yet on when this new guidance may come out. The last change came in 2021 when the isolation period then was reduced from 10 days to the current 5.